It's time to rethink everything. Instead of building up shadows, you build up light. Welcome to an exciting new world where watercolors, acrylics, or pencils transform negative space into positive. Day is night, black is white. This is Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press Black. Legion, we are paper. At least that's what this pad of black watercolor paper I recently got says on it. I thought it was kind of funny. Welcome back everyone. Today, you guessed it, we are painting on this black watercolor paper with my new addition, my Kuratake Gansai Tambi watercolors. How fancy! I've actually been really looking forward to doing this, so let's dive into it. Here is the paper and the watercolor that we are using today, and I did actually originally buy this watercolor so that I could use it on this paper. And ooh, look at this fancy ass paper. I love it. So let's tear off a piece here and tape it down to the desk so that we can start on the art. When using watercolor paper, I really like to tape down the paper so that it prevents any buckling or anything like that. It also gives me a nice border if I am doing a full page illustration, and for that I'm just using regular masking tape. So for the drawing that I wanted to do today, I kind of wanted to expand on a previous drawing that I have done a little while ago. Now I did that with POSCA pens on black paper, and I thought it would be a pretty good fit for paints on black paper. It would be a similar theme and obviously similar, materials. Now that drawing that I actually did in the past was actually a dragon skull with some plants over it, and I kind of want to, expand on that a little bit and draw a little bit more of the dragon, not just the skull. So of course, as you can see, I am drawing a full body dragon skeleton. This has been on my to draw list for so long now. I just felt like it would be really cool to draw like a dragon skeleton and get some inspiration from some other animal bones. As you can see in the corner here, there's a tiger skull, which is what I'm using for inspiration for the dragon skull. I'm also using the skeleton of a frill neck lizard and also the bones of bat wings because I felt like they would suit the whole thing nicely. Now I actually really like the idea of using a tiger's skull as the base for a dragon skull, but then adding on horns and stuff like that, because I feel like a dragon would definitely be a carnivore, so it would have those sharp teeth, but the skull is kind of like wider and more dense than say a lizard skull, so I feel like it's kind of more dragon-like in that sense. A dragon's like a really powerful creature, so it's going to need these really powerful jaws and like sharp teeth to, do dragon things. And dragon wings are basically like bat wings anyways, so that really does fit pretty well. And I love the bones in bat wings. I just think it's really interesting how a bat's wings is basically hands. If you look at the bones, it has knuckles, it even has a little thumb with the claw at the top there, and it's even got like an elbow, if you can sort of see. It's just that the proportions of each bones have been changed so that it suits a flying wing instead of a grabby hand. I just thought that that was really cool and smart that, animals' biology has obviously adapted to what they need to do. But if you look at the bones, you can tell that it used to be a hand at one point of its evolutionary line. And it's also pretty cool too, because if you know the basics of drawing a hand, you can change what you know to suit a wing. Anyways, let's get this sketched finished up and then we can start on the painting. Okay, so I have finished this sketch off here, and I've also lightened it quite a bit with my kneadable eraser, and now I'm just adding a bit of white and removing a bit of the water here because I kind of used a little bit too much water in there, and we are going to mix some white with a little bit of yellow ochre to make a really nice sort of bone color. Okay, so this color should work pretty well, and I am still going to use a little bit of white alongside it so I can sort of get some nice little shading, techniques and stuff like that. And Overall, I'm very surprised with how opaque these paints are. These are basically like watercolors, and there is a lot of water mixed with this paint here. And as you can see, it's really nice and bright on that black paper. I am very surprised. Now with this sort of yellowy brown color here, I'm just going in first and I'm just adding in color where I want some of the shadows for this skull to be. And then afterwards, I'm going to add in a bit of white and see how we can blend that on this black paper. Okay, this is already looking super cool and the teeth are just standing out really nicely against that black paper, and I'm really excited. I have some high hopes for this drawing. Hopefully we don't stuff it up in the process. Let's move on to this sort of shoulder blade slash collarbone bone. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. I didn't look it up or anything, but I'm just adding a little bit of white to here and also using a little bit of that brown to sort of blend it. And yeah, we're gonna continue along that, and then I'm going to go on to the arm bones here, as you can see. Let's begin on this neck area here. Now I believe these are like vertebrae. Actually, I believe they are vertebrae. They're not like vertebrae, but I am going to elongate them a little bit because dragons do have quite a lot of spines, you know, spikes and horns and stuff along their neck and tail, and I definitely want to add that too. So now he's starting to already look pretty ferocious already, and I am loving how he is looking. Now let's just go in here and we're going to add in the ribs. And as you can see, I've just done some random dots, and that's just to measure out where I'm going to have each rib. And then I'm going to go in with a very thin line with some white paint, and we're going to add in those ribs. And we're going to try and make sure that it curves around at the front, because this is obviously a 3D thing that I'm trying to paint here. So it's going to sort of curve around and you're going to see the ribs like in between on the other side as well. So let's go into the wing here. Now, as you can see, we do have the basic lines already sketched out, and the way I draw a dragon's like wing as a skeleton is basically the exact same way I do the construction lines for a wing, because you're going to build up that shape of the bones and then put all of the membrane in between. But we're not going to do the membrane today, just the bones, so this is going to be pretty fun. I am going to start off with a thicker section of you know, paint where I'm going to have all of those joints be, and then just really thin lines where the bones sort of connect between each joint. Now on the edge pieces where, you know, basically the fingertips are supposed to be, I'm going to curve it just ever so slightly because I think that looks cool, but also that is slightly what happens on a bat's wing, and I just think it would look really cool on a dragon's wing as well. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding in some extra layers of highlights here onto the bones. As you can see, I'm just doing this on this spike here. I'm just adding in some white paint mixed with a little bit of that yellowy brown color, and we're just going to add it into where the highlights are, and then I'm going to sort of blend it into the paint that's underneath. So yeah, I'm actually really enjoying these paints here, the kuratake, gansai, watercolors. Now I didn't realize how opaque they actually are when I painted on white paper, and honestly I think I like them better on this dark paper here, and I'm actually really excited to see how they would react on like a different colored paper. I think that would be a really cool experiment, but for the moment right now I am just painting in this back leg here. Now to do the feet, I basically did similar thing that I did with the wings. I just added in some paint on the areas that are going to be like joints, like this ankle here, and then I go in and I just add some dots for the knuckles here, and then after that I join them with a very thin piece of just a thin line of paint, and then we basically have some foot bones here that we can continue to add just a little bit of shadows and highlights and stuff on there. So as you can see, I have gone ahead and added in the bones for the tail. Now I'm just going to add in more bones here, and this is basically the end of the tail. Now it's going to look slightly different because these bones are like quite a lot smaller because the tail sort of tapers to a thin tip. So instead of doing each bone individually, I am just painting in a line, as you can see, and then we're going to thicken it in places so that it looks like a sharp, pointy tail. Sorry about the noises in the background, by the way. My cat's just going crazy playing with toys. Okay, so I've painted most of that skeleton, as you can see, and I've also just spilled some paint here. I'm gonna have to clean that up. No, not the art. Well, it's okay. We'll clean this up and fix it. Luckily, this paint here isn't actually too staining, and it looks like I have removed that paint pretty effortlessly, so good on that. But anyways, while I fix this foot, if you have a look at the palette here, I've actually mixed two different colors. There is a purple and a sort of pinkish red color, and I'm going to use that to add in some flowers and plants and stuff into the bones, because I thought this artwork would probably benefit with a little bit more color, not just white and brown and black. So yeah, let's do that. So I want these flowers to be like really, really tiny, sort of like small flowers, obviously, because this dragon is going to be a big dragon, because dragons just are normally huge. And I want to just draw them in natural little clumps. So basically I'm just going to use my paintbrush here and dab it on the page with that purple color, and try and get like a nice natural looking bushy shape that would suit some flowers. And we're gonna have some hanging like down because gravity and all that. And yeah, then after that, once I do all of that, I will add in some highlights and stuff like that, and obviously that other red color. So let's put some flowers in among these bones. Okay, so this is already looking much cooler, honestly. I think I just really love the theme of like the bones and the flowers. It's kind of like life and death and an overall like nature sort of theme to it, I guess, even though there's also like a fantasy theme in there with the whole dragon aspect. I really like it, and I think it looks really cool, and the addition of this red color here just looks really nice. So we're going to continue and add in that red among the purple, and I think it's going to look really cool. Okay, so what I think this artwork now needs is a little bit of green for obviously the plants, but I'm going to do some slight sort of vine textures around some of the bones here, and I've just got this like long rigger brush which I'm going to use for some smooth lines, and we're going to add some greenery, and I think that that's going to really bring the whole piece together and make it a little bit more obvious that these are flowers, not just like paint splatters. So just a few tiny touch-ups left over here, and honestly I really love this painting. I just think it looks so cool, and I'm honestly very proud of how it has turned out as well. So here's the final results, and wow, I just really like it. I kind of like the sort of creepy vibe with the bones, but then the flowers is like really pretty, and overall the theme, is just right up my alley. I just really like it. I had a lot of fun with this black paper here, and honestly I think this is better than the other black paper that I have used in the past because it is a watercolor paper, so it is obviously thicker than your regular drawing paper and it didn't buckle or anything like that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And please hit that like and subscribe button as well if you're interested. It really helps me out, and I hope you all are having a lovely day. Please stay safe out there, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye everyone.